Why is there so much reaction to people who flash nice cars or drive nice cars, period? Today we had John Madsen come and speak to us at the Seven Figure Mastermind, and you kind of shared just your experience having nice things, material things, things that you want, things that you like. What is your thought process around a beautiful car? By the way, which kind of car is this?
This is a Ferrari 812 super fast.
And is this something you've always wanted?
You know, Ferrari's just been a representation of something in my mind that's like, I've made it, right? But really, that's not even what this car is about for me now.
Yeah.
What I'm after is freedom.
Right.
And so I just want to fully express myself and be completely free. And a lot of people look at these cars and they think that they're materialistic, or that, you know, people that have these cars are a certain way. Like, I personally don't believe that. This is just freedom. If I could drive whatever I wanted to drive, right? Everybody's settled at something.
Right.
If a car is just transformation and the whole purpose is to get from point A to point B, right? Well, you could ride a bike, but people don't just ride a bike. They're like, no, I need a car. Well, you could get an old beat up Honda, but they're like, nah, I don't want to drive an old beat up Honda. Okay, Tesla. So they'll like settle at a certain point. This is a representation for me of not settling. It's like, I can drive whatever I want.
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to settle for what I need. I'm going to go for what I want. And so every time I drive the car, I just remind myself of that. People have this idea that like money equals happiness.
Right.
And there's actually no equal sign. And that equal sign really screws people up. It's like, money is just money. It's like water. It's gonna make you a better person. It could make you a worse person. But a lot of people have such an ingrained problem when it comes to money. It's like, on one hand they want it, but the other hand they don't necessarily like it because they think it's bad or evil or whatever. I just don't. I think that it's neutral, and money does not equal happiness. This car does not make me happy. I make myself happy. And whether I had the car or didn't have the car, I'd be the same happy. I just enjoy driving the car.
Absolutely. How did you get there? What was preventing you? What do you think holds people back from getting to a point to give themselves permission to, I want a nicer car? Or what's wrong with having something that I desire? I think there's so much like, oh, then I'm superficial, or I'm selfish, or I'm self-absorbed, or I'm insecure. There's so many emotions attached to people's wants.
Yeah, society, right? It could be parents. You grew up in a middle-class family, and that's just not who we are, and all that stuff is an identity. You know, you're a walking, talking unconscious mind from 0 to 7 years old, and so a lot of these beliefs are inserted in you, and you don't even really have a choice. And so later on in life, you have to kind of unwind where they all came from. And so for a long period of time, like, I wouldn't allow myself to want stuff like this because I thought that it was virtuous to not want it. And but then I was at war with myself. Because then I was like, no, like I saw, like, I want a Ferrari.
I don't need
if
that.
I was being honest, but then I was like, I don't need it. It's like, you're never gonna have it then. And so until I allowed myself to go for actually what I wanted, and that it didn't mean anything, then that's when my life changed.
Yeah, you looked at it from a place of neutrality where I don't need it. I just want it.
Exactly.
I just want it, and I'm not needing it because I want to be happy. It's going to give me happiness. It's just that it's another standard. That's interesting. What would you tell somebody who wants to kind of break through to tapping into more of their desires and maybe their dreams?
I think that they need to get quiet for a minute and really consider what they actually want, what lights them up. I win a lot because I'm hungrier than other people, right? It's like, if I can't have the house that I want now, I'm gonna go drive around in that neighborhood. I'm gonna go through the open houses. I'm gonna sit in the chair. I'm going to like just sit in the feeling of that. And what happens is when I remove myself, because it's like, oh, I can't afford it yet, it makes me hungry. And again, the house isn't gonna make me happy. It's just like, if I become everything that I could become, that will be something that will be in my life. Again, it's neutral, but I'm just very good at keeping myself very hungry, where other people shut it off because it's like, oh, I don't need it, I don't need that. And so then they never go for it. And then they wonder why they don't succeed at a high level. I promise you, the people who win the most are the hungriest.
So this takes more than commitment. It takes like a competitive spirit, a hunger, a desire. That's great. Freaking awesome, man. Where can people find out about your coaching program, and who's it for specifically?
Yeah, man. I am a co-founder of Suprahuman, which is one of the top online fitness coaching programs in the entire world.
Yeah.
Over 2,000 members. We have members that are just elite people who are great at business, who for whatever reason went down the business route.
Yeah.
They chased success and they forgot about their health in the process.
Right.
We even them out. We go all in on their health, and their business usually does better, but it's a community of like-minded people, successful people that just look in the mirror one day, they're not proud of what they see, and we fix that for them, and we have the greatest coaches in the world, and we have the greatest community to help support that.
That's right. I got to ask you one more question since you talked about that. What is their biggest stumbling block? Somebody who's got it all together, they've built a company, they've built teams, they've acquired, but they can't get their apps. What do you find is one of the common denominators that you have to keep working through?
Anybody that makes a lot of money has been driven by status. It's like, or they wouldn't have that money. They wouldn't be as driven. So on some level, the business owners that are going down that path, it's to prove somebody wrong, it's to prove somebody right, it's to be that guy, it's a status. And so money is a status type of thing, right? If a person makes $10 million, he has more status usually than a person that makes 10 grand. And so they're driven by that. But then they get to this point where they've made enough money. And then maybe they realize they have a problem. Like their doctor says, look, man, you might have all the money in the world, but if you don't change things, it's not looking good. Or it might not be that bad, but they start to understand like, look, I have all this money, but I've never had this one thing, fitness. And ultimately, I think that that's also another driver that gets buried over the success and money.
Trust.
But then at a certain point, like we catch those people and we're like, what if you have both? Because what's even, better than status with the person that has money is the person that has a lot of money and also has a six-pack too and is winning in every area of their life, not just singular.
Yeah, you bring them right back to the core desire of wanting to be a great man, like holistically.
Yeah.
And not just one-dimensionally.
Yeah.
Which has always been in there.
Right. And I mean, look, you can be a great man and be 50 pounds overweight. You can be a great man, but you're not the ultimate version of you.
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, people really want to tap into their most ultimate elite version. They want to know what that feels like. And a lot of these guys, maybe they've always been overweight. They just like health is something that never has come easy. Yeah. It's a silly problem and we fix it easily.
I'll say one last thing. I know, you're a bit of a controversial figure, a bit online with but you're coming at a place from, like you're giving these guys permission to say yes to how they were originally designed, to be, fully authentic and to be living their greatest purpose, which is only when they're living in truth. Right. God can't transform somebody if they're not in truth. Right. So they have to strip away the lie that like I am not being the best version of me. Just because I'm a great dad, great with my kids, great with my wife, they're still lying to themselves. And I think deep down, you're tapping into something where they know they're not authentic, and here's a chance to become in alignment in all areas.
And they lie to themselves by saying, I just want to be healthy. So they go and they do this exercise, or they get the personal trainer, and they're in motion, and they're lying to themselves about the reason for them doing that. It's like, oh, I just want to be healthy. No, that's not what they want. They want to be a savage.
Yeah. Why don't
you know what I mean? They want to be a savage, and so I give them permission for that.
And last question, maybe we've already said this already. Why aren't they giving themselves permission to say I want to be a savage?
Because vanity is like greed. It's like the same way people look at this car, they're like, oh, I don't like. It's greedy to have money. People do that same thing in fitness. The flip side of that is like, oh, it's vanity if you look in the mirror and you have like a shredded six-pack. It's like, no, dude, that's just I'm elite. And so people have a problem with vanity just like they do greed.
It's freaking amazing, man. All right, guys, if you're ready to go elite in all areas of your life, get a hold of this guy. We'll put all the stuff in the show notes below. But dude, that was freaking awesome,
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, pound. Thank you, bro.
Pound.
Yep.